The U.S. has slipped out of the top 20 countries in a worldwide corruption index.
Here's a summary of the article.
The U.S. has plummeted in an annual corruption index, falling out of the top 20 countries for the first time since 2011, watchdog Transparency International said in a new report that links the global erosion of democracy and tidal wave of autocrats to an uptick in graft. Corruption chips away at democracy to produce a vicious cycle, where corruption undermines democratic institutions and, in turn, weak institutions are less able to control corruption, said Patricia Moreira, managing director of Transparency International. The Corruption Perceptions Index, which ranks 180 countries by their perceived levels of public sector corruption, found overall that the failure to control corruption is contributing to a crisis of democracy around the world. Under the Trump administration, the U.S. slipped 4 points to 71 on a 0 to 100 scale, the lowest score it's registered in 7 years. The low score comes at a time when the U.S. is experiencing threats to its system of checks and balances as well as an erosion of ethical norms at the highest levels of power, according to TI. President Donald Trump is a symptom, not a cause, Zoe Ryder, the watchdog's acting representative to the U.S., told Reuters. Where democratic norms struggle, corruption flourishes and populists tend to take advantage, according to TI. And in most of the world, the diagnosis is not good, more than two-thirds of the countries scored below 50. Our research makes a clear link between having a healthy democracy and successfully fighting public sector corruption, said Delia Ferreira Rubio, the chair of TI. Denmark and New Zealand topped the list, while Somalia, South Sudan and Syria scored the lowest.
This post received a score of 45,539, with an upvote ratio of 80%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Lots of noise and useless rubbish in this thread. For those who are interested, here is the full list. US has come in at number 25. The rest of the top 25 are Denmark, New Zealand, Finland, Singapore, Sweden, Switzerland, Norway, Netherlands, Canada, Luxembourg, Germany, United Kingdom, Australia, Austria, Hong Kong, Iceland, Belgium, Estonia, Ireland, Japan, France, United States of America.
To clarify, this Corruption Perception Index for 2018 is sorted from least to most perceived public sector corruption. Denmark has the least perceived corruption. Side note, the index uses a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is highly corrupt and 100 is very clean. The title of the post, "The U.S. has slipped out of the top 20 countries in a worldwide corruption index," is suggesting that the U.S. is being perceived as more corrupt compared to last year.
Greater than Corruption Perception Index. Any idea how the Perception of Corruption Index is defined? Because I have a hard time understanding how Morocco is much better on that scale than Russia. I've been living in Russia for almost 10 years and the few hours I spent in Morocco made me understand how Russia isn't as bad as it sounds. Corruption in Russia exists but things changed a lot during the last years, but in Morocco it felt like corruption is ingrained into the system on every possible level.
The CPI methodology wasn't precisely defined. But from 008 to 021s. The CPI score reflects the surveys of experts and business people, not the general public. Experts and business people is an extremely vague definition. Edit from.
Interesting that out of the current top 20 only Hong Kong and Estonia are less corrupt than they were 4 years ago. 2 countries have stayed the same and every other country is more corrupt.
Less corrupt only relative to the other countries. I would like to think that most of the top countries are less corrupt than the last assessment, if only because the information age exposes more corruption, and people know they are being watched.
You might be in for a dark surprise.
Not every country is as dumb as America. Optimism is warranted.
So we are more corrupt, not less.
Thanks for also not thinking it's a clear article. Index name lol. Pretty sure it's saying we're perceived as more corrupt. That appears to be what it's measuring.
Whoever wrote this article and made the title is straight up stupid. I'm not kidding. The way this is worded, it gives you the exact opposite impression.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to Speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.